The old gray mare just ain't what she used to be. And Cliff Stout gives new meaning to throwing into a crowd. A gambler's timing is his ace in the hole. And an old Michigan connection, now in Oakland, parlays an 11-to-1 shot into a dead heat.
In the USFL.
There's a professional football league that believes having fun is the most important business at hand. The USFL, where football is still a game. The Battle of Champions. Oakland, having absorbed the Michigan Panthers, against the Baltimore Stars. The defending champion Stars, formerly of Philadelphia, launch a first strike attack through Victor Harrison. Harrison's first pro touchdown is from 61 yards and supplies the Stars with a 7-0 lead. Bobby Hebert led Michigan to the first league title, but in Oakland, he's off by a beat. In the clash of the Titans, Baltimore seems to have its way, as Herbert Harris helps them to a 17-0 edge. But there's one intangible the Stars didn't count on: the Oakland defense. Defense holding, there's a sudden change, and Gordon Banks puts the Invaders back in range. The seconds dissolve on Oakland as it makes one final drive, and with just one play to go, Hebert keeps them alive. An 11-to-1 shot to Anthony Carter ties it at 17. Overtime. Oakland has first crack in the fifth and last stanza, but the Stars persevere, as they so often do. Baltimore then tries its luck by the bay, and although it looks good, this trout kick got away. The Invaders' one good shot is also a long one, but for Novo Bojovic, not quite long enough. And so ends this ditty, in which two champs did vie, and presented the league with its first ever tie. Deadlocks are rare in the USFL, where teams are a shade more reckless. And no coach is more liberal than Darryl Mouth Davis, whose Denver Gold take on Raleigh Dodge and the ball control Birmingham Stallions. In its opener last week, Denver was shot down by the Oakland Invaders, but with Bill Johnson carrying the load against Birmingham, it runs and shoots at will.
The play calling was just super, and we picked our spots at the right time, and as a result, we made big plays. It just felt good to come out and to be as productive as we were today.
I think they got an excellent team. We got lucky on a few calls. We did a lot of blitzing there and doubled up Jim Smith, and it seemed to be pretty effective for us.
The Gold Rush is more than effective, sacking Cliff Stout 5 times and holding the celebrated Birmingham running game to just 67 yards. But while Stout struggles, Evans excels. The former Chicago Blitz quarterback seems more comfortable this week in Davis's turbocharged offense, throwing for 284 yards and 2 touchdowns. With Evans leading the charge, Denver ambushes the Stallions 40-23, taking no prisoners. Despite 5 first-half turnovers, the Gold runs and shoots to a team record for points.
We stopped ourselves once or twice, but certainly if we execute a little better, I think we always anticipate that you should take the football into the end zone or get points every possession. As long as we execute well, I'm sure we'll do that.
Davis earns his first pro win and joins an exclusive club. Mouse introduced the run-and-shoot offense to the pros last year in Houston and gave birth to the Mouseketeers. Well, Mouse is no longer with the Gamblers, but the Mouseketeer legacy lives on as the Tampa Bay Bandits surely discovered. You see, Mouseketeers are fast, wily, uncatchable little varmints like Clarence Verdun, who ties his club record with a 94-yard return and provides an omen for Tampa coach Steve Spurrier. But there's more than one. Take, for instance, Gerald McNeil, who ties a league record with a 79-yard punt return, gives Houston a 21-7 lead, and sets Spurrier to looking for a better mousetrap. Of course, no one has more fans in Houston than the heart of the run-and-shoot, Gambler quarterback Jim Kelly, who maintains his record-shattering pace with another strike to McNeil. These kind of pests aren't something you easily brush away. Now, once upon a time, Luther Bradley set a pro record with 6 interceptions against Tampa. Today, he gets just 1, but it hurts almost as much. Kelly, meanwhile, fires his 4th touchdown of the day, this to Clarence Verdun. So this is what hating Mises to pieces means. When the Bandits switch quarterbacks in search of some luck, Lloyd Lewis makes like a runaway truck. On Houston, even defensive linemen boogie. Ever have one of those days? For Steve Spurrier's Bandits, it's a day that will live in infamy when the Gamblers and the legend of the Mouseketeers hit the beach in picture-perfect form. The scene? Jacksonville, home of the Bulls. The foe? Pepper Rogers' Memphis Showboats, and making his first pro start ever, Buck Bellew. But it's an old friend, Mike Rozier, who chalks up his first score as a Bull and gives Jacksonville an early lead. Memphis quarterback Walter Lewis is looking mighty confident these days, and no wonder, with Leonard Williams to back him up. Williams assaults the Bulls secondary, and Pepper's properly pleased. With the table set, Lewis serves one up to Greg Moser. So it stays until late in the 3rd quarter, when Bellew tries to buck the rush and presents Sir Walter with a chance to strut his stuff. Bulls coach Lindy Infante tries to stay cool and relaxed. But it's not so easy with Lewis making tracks. As a passer, Buck's had an encouraging debut, but the Buck pass this time is not quite so true, and Leonard Coleman turns out the lights. It's closing time for Pepper, whose showboats climb to 2-0, despite the eternal optimism of Jacksonville fans. Done in by a crazy little quarterback who this night rates a 10. Perfection isn't on the horizon in San Antonio quite yet, but proven ways like perseverance are certainly remembered. The Gunslingers are outdueled by the visiting Arizona Outlaws for 3 quarters, with Kevin Long leading the posse to a 14-0 lead. But Rick Neuheisel ignites a 4th quarter rally by the Gunslingers with help from his faithful companion, Danny Bucks. Then, with just over a minute to go and the score tied at 14, San Antonio's Jeff Chapin puts Doug Williams in a 2-point grasp and provides a 16-14 victory worthy of a salute. Renegades are the rage in Orlando, despite a less than brilliant start. But it's Doug Flutie and the New Jersey Generals who see the light at the end of the tunnel, thanks to a more inventive approach. The Generals gain more than 400 total yards and make Orlando coach Lee Corso wait still another day for his first pro win. With 4 touchdown passes, Doug Flutie sets a New Jersey record, and with 3 of the TDs, Clarence Collins still another. They said Flutie was too small to play the game, but in the 28-10 final, it's Orlando who comes up short. You know, most people think football is played by immense creatures of superhuman strength. Well, that's true, but it also has its share of 5'10s and under. And as the Giants will be the first to tell you, it's the little guys you've got to keep your eye on.
Short people got nobody. Short people got nobody. Short people got nobody to love. They got no baby leg, stand so low. You got to pick them up just to say hello. They got little cars that go beep, beep, beep. They got little voices going beep, beep, beep. They got brother little fingers, dirty little mind. They're gonna get you every time. Well, I don't want no short people. Don't want no short people. Don't want no short people out here. Short people are just the same as you and I. Fools that fight, all men are brothers until the day they die. It's a wonderful world. Short people got nobody.
Whoa, the request line's open for football flashbacks in the USFL. This week we open our moldy vault to follow the path of the Breakers from the beginning, baby.
Since their inception, the Breakers have looked to Dick Corey for guidance.
Offensive and defensive linemen. Hold your hands up so you know who you are.
Well, the Breakers have always known who they are. It's where they are that's the problem. Johnny Walton and Company started in Boston in 1983, where they performed a few miracles and captured a few hearts. Well, although Nickerson Field overflowed with emotion and Papa Dick Corey was named Coach of the Year, Gulf breezes beckoned and the Heartbreakers bust south to New Orleans, where they once again were the toast of the town and once again managed to turn a city upside down. New Orleans loved its Breaker family. So emotional, so sincere. But come 1985, it was off to Portland, where even the mayor rides a bike. Oh, say, can you see? From sea to shining sea, the Breakers, America's team, coming soon to a city near you. Well, from Boston down to New Orleans, the Breakers had moved with the sun and found themselves now in a new house in Portland, Oregon. When Marcus Dupree was injured, the Breakers lost one of the best, but Buford Jordan would shine like a star against the Los Angeles Express. Now John Hadle had fashioned a great team, and the creme de la creme was Steve Young. But things have a way of turning around in Portland, Oregon. With pride on the line in the city of roses, the Breakers decided to scheme, and instead of reverse, went full speed ahead like a finely tuned running machine. With LA well aware of the ground game, the Breakers had some fun and faked them into a 7-3 hole in Portland, Oregon. Frank Lockett was the hero, and the fans soaked in ecstasy. But the topping was Tim Mazzetti's 100 straight PAT. Well, when Steve Young falls behind, he knows only one thing. If he can't find a target, he can always run. So he rambled and scrambled 110 yards worth and regained the lead in Portland, Oregon. But back came the Breakers as Jordan made hay to lead 14-10 with time ticking away. Well, mamas, tell your children. Tell them if they ever grow up to play football, they'd do well to forget about LA's final thrust. For with no timeouts and the game on the line, they dissolved against a two-man rush. From Boston on down to New Orleans, the Breakers had found ways to win and have fun. And when time ran out, they had done so again in Portland, Oregon. Of course, the other side of the story involves a man who hates to lose.
I'm tired of coming up one play short, and if I have anything to do about it, you know, I don't want to ever have that happen again. I'm used to coming out on top.
A closer look is therefore in order at this determined young man with some wise old ways. Steve Young, the leading rusher in the Western Division, added an average of 2 touchdowns a game to the LA offense on becoming a starter last year. Against Chicago last season, Young passed for more than 300 yards and ran for more than 100, the first and only time that's been done in pro football history. A Heisman Trophy runner-up at Brigham Young University, Young's strength was his versatility, and he kept the same game plan for success upon joining the Express.
I've learned some things over my years at college that I'll hopefully be able to convert to the pro game, and you know, I've confused linebackers in the past. I don't know if I can confuse guys that have been around a few years, but you know, hopefully I'll be able to confuse them instead of them confusing me.
Well, there's no confusing the issue now. Steve Young is destined for greatness with the Wild Boys in the USFL.
Wild Boys! Wild Boys! Wild Boys! Wild Boys!
And like all Wild Boys who take their game seriously, their only goal is to win.
You got sirens for a welcome, then bloodstain for your pain, and your telephone been ringing while you're dancing in
provided promotional considerations or contributed to the United Way.